I do not think a Muslim ban is in our country's interest. I do not think it is reflective of our principles, not just as a party, but as a country. And I think the smarter way to go in all respects is to have a security test and not a religious test.
So that's House Speaker Paul Ryan responding to criticism about Donald Trump. Trump under fire after renewing his call for a temporary ban on Muslim refugees coming into the United States. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, senior advisor for the Trump team, now with us live in Little Rock, Arkansas. Sarah, thanks for coming back. I got a lot to go through, okay? A couple things to go through in the next few moments. Is the disconnect with Republican leaders when Paul Ryan talks like that, is this now highlighted more than before? Is it back?
I certainly don't think so. I mean, I think the real issue here is who's going to keep our country safe, and I think Donald Trump, in contrast to Hillary Clinton, is certainly the stronger person. Poll after poll has shown that Americans trust him on national security infinitely more than they trust Hillary Clinton. And at a time as critical and as important as this, I think Republican leaders certainly would much rather see Donald Trump, as would most Americans would rather see Donald Trump in the White House than Hillary Clinton.
Okay, now, Paul Ryan is talking about a security test, not a religious test. What's wrong with a security test?
The problem is we don't have one, and Donald Trump is calling for a temporary ban until we have a system in place that does keep our country safe. And right now we don't have that, and he is asking that we put a temporary ban on Muslims coming from countries that have had these kind of issues, not across the board. But again, we have to focus on keeping our country safe, and until we have something in place that helps do that, then we have to put some type of temporary halt. We don't know who these people are. We don't know where they're coming from, why they're coming here, and until we have a better system in place to do that, we absolutely need to put a halt and keep our country safe.
He expanded that to more countries just this past week. Is that what voters are responding to? I mean, just give me a sense of where the evidence is that supports that.
I think that the support is that people are tired of political correctness, and they're looking for a leader who is completely focused on putting American interest first and keeping our country safe. This is the worst attack we've had since 9/11. Our enemies don't fear Obama, and they certainly don't fear Hillary Clinton, but they're going to fear Donald Trump, and that's what we need right now, and that's what we need to focus on, is somebody who's going to put that first.
Okay, you mentioned the polling numbers. We've got this from ABC and the Washington Post. His unfavorability now is 70%. She's at 55, but still, this is an all-time high for Donald Trump. How are you going to overcome that?
I think the very clear answer is drawing that contrast between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Right now, one of the biggest issues facing our country is who's better on national security, and poll after poll has shown that people trust Donald Trump on that issue. Another big issue that Americans care about most is the economy, and more Americans trust Donald Trump on the economy than trust Hillary Clinton. At the end of the day, I think they're much more concerned about where our economy is and who's going to keep them safe than maybe who they like the most at that moment. And as this campaign goes further and people get to see that contrast, I think it'll be a very, very easy answer, and Donald Trump will win in November.
This takes us to the obvious question. If the number two issues, the two top issues rather, are the economy and national security, you think that's your winning hand, regardless of what Republicans and Republican leadership are saying, Sarah?
I think it certainly has to be one of the biggest focuses. That's what people care about, not just because that's what they care about, but that's what's driving our country. If people aren't safe here, if people can't get jobs, we don't have a country. If we're not safe, if we can't
I get it, but
go
you're
out
banking,
on a Sunday night.
You're banking on winning without the party behind you, correct?
Not at all. The party is behind us, and more than the party, the American people. Donald Trump won a 17-person primary and is beating Hillary Clinton and head-to-head with her in a lot of places. And the polling's going to fluctuate, but I think continuing as this campaign goes and you see the contrast drawn between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, there is no doubt that I think Donald Trump will beat Hillary Clinton in November.
Okay, here we go with Donald Trump in North Carolina last night. I'm going to play it for our audience, and then we'll get an explanation for why he said this.
Iraq, crooked as hell. How about bringing baskets of money, millions and millions of dollars, and handing it out? I want to know, who are the soldiers that had that job? Because I think they're living very well right now, whoever they may be.
Where'd that come from?
He was referencing our Iraqi soldiers and the corruption that's taken place over there. Look, there is no person in this race that has been more committed and more focused on our active military, rebuilding our military, and taking care of our veterans. And to think then, to insinuate that Donald Trump is anything other than that, as the Democrats have tried to do,
he wasn't
since
talking
that
about
comment
American.
is absurd.
You're saying he wasn't talking about American soldiers, correct?
No, he was talking about Iraqi soldiers.
Hope Hicks
And the
sent an email
corruption
out.
that's taken place there.
Hope Hicks with the Trump team sent an email last night saying he was referring to Iraqi soldiers. So we will see if there's further clarification of that today. Sarah, thank you for coming back. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, there live in Little Rock. We will talk again
Thank you,
very
Bill.
soon.